Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to one more episode of Conversations and Go Beyond Sports with me, Sonali Gupta. I would like to begin with thanking everyone for watching and supporting sports, its players, and its people in various ways. My guest today is someone you don't see on ground as much as you see him off the field. I am very happy to introduce our next guest today, Mr. Rahul Trehan. Thank you so much, Mr. Rahul, for joining us today. He is the Vice President, iOS Sports and
Okay.
Entertainment, Media and Public Relations. Rahul has handled a diverse range of portfolios spanning brand communications, image management, media management, public relations, PR for iOS talent, and digital media management. He has previously worked with the national men and women hockey teams and Hockey India, the National Sports Federation. During his years of journalism, he worked with leading media houses, including ESPN Star Sports, Network 18 Cricket Next, and Jaagran Group. Currently, he is handling the entire pool of sports talent in the company as well as our country, including Vijender Singh, Mary Kom, Manika Batra, Hima Das, Sushma Verma, Mirabai Chanu, and many more athletes. He has also previously worked with Suresh Raina and Sania Nehwal. I am not only honored but also very excited to have you today here as our guest. Uh, there is so much
Thank you,
that
Sonali.
we see on screen, and there is so much that happens behind the scenes where there are stalwarts like you who are kind of running the show. So I'm going to begin with this very first question, which I ask everybody. Why sports? And why did you choose to be in the sports industry in general?
First of all, thank you, Sonali,
Thank you.
for inviting me to your this special show. So, sports was always a passion. It's not that I played a particular sport, but sport was always a passion. So that's how I started. Initially, I did journalism. Then I worked with print media, electronic media, web, and then finally, my initial thing was to do something for sports because reporting was fine. I have seen sports, what sports people are doing, how is their life. But initial idea was that I wanted to do something for them. And that was the reason I started working with the Indian team and then later on turned myself into, we can say, PR as well as the sports management.
So,
So, yeah, it's all about the passion.
yeah, so then can you please tell us more about what really is talent management? Because for so many outside the sports industry, they do not even understand what really comprises being the PR or the talent manager of the players.
See, it's all about representing an athlete. Today, suppose uh, if a athlete is in the national camp performing for the country, they don't have time to look after the commercial part of their life because apart from training and all, someone needs some financial securities also. And sponsors are there, then there are a lot of other commitments also, social commitments are there. So that's where our role comes in. So whatever queries, whatever call comes to an athlete, all everything is directed to a talent manager. So talent manager's role is to actually manage the brand, the image management of an athlete,
Right,
whatever social initiatives are there, that also you have to manage, and
right,
side by side you have to do a PR, and you have to see whatever is good for an athlete in the market. Then
right.
whatever the social media stuff athlete is doing, is it good or is it bad for an athlete? So this is the role of a talent manager. So initially, I mean, talent manager is actually a face of an athlete in the market.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
then, as a talent manager, when you're kind of involved in so many aspects of their life, and while you say that you are the face of them, so many times we do see a lot of them. putting a foot in the mouth, making a statement that kind of gets into kind of controversies, and of course you would have to most of the times do correction for everything that's going on. How do you kind of work through those kind of times?
See, that's a part of our job. If something has happened, we are always there to do the damage control and all. See, initially, we always try whenever an athlete is interacting with anyone, we always try to do research and whatever is we try to work on those aspects and we try to brief athlete also. And nowadays, athletes are well aware of what they have to say and what they don't have to say. But
Right.
yes, it happens sometime because athletes are busy in their training and all. So
Right.
now time is totally different. Earlier, there was a time when athletes were only restricted to physical training. Now, a lot
Right.
of mental stuff is there, a lot of other video analysis sessions are there, a lot of things are there. So,
Right.
we always try to do a research work on whatever interview an athlete has to give. So, we always try to get a question from an athlete, from the journalist, and we
Right.
accordingly we brief our athlete also. So, we, in a way, we definitely whatever what in whatever best possible way we try to help an athlete.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So tell me, you come from a very vast, illustrious sports journalism background. What do you think then of the contemporary sports journalism that is now a part of, main scale media, which is also almost page three? There is so much of the paparazzi culture that is there, even for the sports players, which really wasn't there for the longest time. So, what is your, then view, or as an observer, as an insider?
See, I think by the time things have changed a lot, like you have seen, Instagram is there, Twitter is there, Facebook is there. So
Right,
nowadays, along with performance, every brand look at an athlete from whatever kind of following they have.
right,
So athletes, see, definitely the legend will always remain a legend. But apart from that, this is something the following of an athlete is also looked by any brand, any commercial deal, whichever comes in. Then a lot of other things have also come in, like reality shows. They also have a lot of interest. Even brands also want to see who is getting more visibility.
right,
Like if you talk about Kaun Banega Crorepati, Kapil Sharma show, there are a lot of other reality shows also. So
right,
these are few out of them. So such kind of shows always help us to do the brand building of an athlete.
right.
And
So then,
definitely, as far as page three events are concerned, attending award events like GQ, Vogue, L, those events always help an athlete. And to be on the front page of Delhi Times, those things are always helpful.
right. So then, tell me something. Apart from, of course, the performance when they have already won a medal, and when they then become the face of the sport, uh,
Yeah.
how do you actually pick a talent, and how early are you able to kind of spot the talent, or do you kind of nurture them also? Do you have that kind of a role to play, or that kind of a say in this?
We definitely we see whenever there are any domestic events happening, we always try to keep an eye on that, and also most of the time we try to keep an eye on the junior level events. Like we
Right.
have recently signed up Jeremy. Jeremy is just 17-year-old, and
Right.
he won gold medal in the youth Olympic Games in
Right.
2018.
Right.
So he's having a bright future. Same was the case with Hima Das also.
Right.
Manika Batta is one of them. Mirabai Chanu is there. So
Yes.
we do have a lot of young talents whom we have signed at a very young age.
Right.
And definitely we are in the process of signing few more talents also who are really in the beginning of their career. So
Right.
definitely we have to do a lot of research work. Sometimes we have to consult federations, consult coaches who are the upcoming talents and all, because
Right.
generally such we don't know about such talents in the. I mean,
Right.
News only comes in when an athlete achieves something, but there is a
Exactly.
lot of talent in the country. So whenever
Right.
you interact with the coaches or the federation people, they can only tell you who are the upcoming talents, be it from the state level championships, be it from the national championships. So that's how we got to know. So we
Right.
have to be in touch with the federation people and as well as the coaches. Coaches are always the key.
Right.
And also sometimes the athletes we have, the senior athletes, they also help us
Right.
in
Right.
finding the right talent.
Right. So then, in that case, the Khelo India initiatives like these have brought talents out, like Saurabh Chaudhary. So now, so is it like the government encroaching on your turf while when they are doing things like these? It's or it's when people kind of are all working hand in glove together.
Oh, I think it is all working together only because if Khelo India is happening, a lot of talent is coming, and definitely it's good for the talent also and the sports management market also. So it
Right.
is good for everyone.
Right.
So,
And
yeah.
no, no, please, please.
No, tell me, please.
So my question then was, and then apart from being just the manager, while you're talking about being able to pick talents at a much younger age, um, how do you kind of also grow them into being mature sports people where there is so much of mentoring that is required, like you said, when they are out there in the spotlight, in terms of kind of uh, easing them into the media, or easing them into now looking at financial aspects of their life, or kind of planning their future, where sports becomes their main thing. So how do you do this? Is this also one of the most important aspects of you as a manager, or then there is always only that kind of team that comes together for this?
See, the most important thing is how your athlete interact with people in the public. That is very important. That we play an important role. Then how your athlete can stay mentally fit. That's also something. Then for young athletes, especially, we try and do some motivational stuff also.
Right.
Like before Asian Games, I personally uh, got one motivational session done for one of our main talents with Gautam Gambhir because Gautam is very calm athlete, so a
Right.
calm cricketer. So I've
Right.
got it done, and that thing actually helped that player of ours,
Right.
and she's won medals also in the Asian Games. So
Amazing.
such things always help, and you will have to keep an eye on all the activities of your athlete. If your athlete is doing good or bad, you can always advise your athlete.
So do you
And
then?
this is actually a collective effort. You
Yes.
have to coordinate well with the coaches, you have to coordinate well with the federation, you have to coordinate with the SAI, Sports Authority of India, and then even the family of the athlete. We keep on
Right.
interacting with the family of the athletes also because most of the athletes who is at the age of 17, 18 years, 19 years is not mature enough.
Right.
So sometimes apart from us, their families also play a major role because in apart from cricket, most of the athletes they come from a very humble background
Yes.
and
Yes.
they have faced financial crisis and all. So you will have to keep on informing your athlete what is right and what is wrong.
So have you then ever come across this, or a player or an athlete where you have kind of put in all of that effort, and when they have come to you younger, and then they haven't turned out to be that professional, or to reach a certain level, as an athlete should, or as you had expected them to, or they themselves had expected? Have you come across these kind of situations, and then kind of what really can be done, or what do you do?
I have never faced such kind of situations. There could be some minor situations we have faced, which is part of the on and off. It is part of the talent management industry. So,
Right.
but it is always good if you can inform your athlete what is wrong and what is right for an athlete. So it is
Right.
always good.
Right. So so then let's kind of move in into this topic. That what do you think is the current situation of the media managers, of the PR, and are is everybody at the same playing field where they really do understand where a person is coming from, and also everyone's kind of pretty much working together in this at the same level? Also, that now are these fields getting saturated, or is it this such a huge open market that there is still scope for so many more to come in?
We are talking about this COVID-19 the, the
I am
current situation, or
I'm talking about all of it, as in sports opening up more as a market now, versus say a few years ago. It has taken more of a spotlight even for us as a country than we used to earlier on.
I think 2012 Olympic Games were actually the turning point, wherein the role of the talent management industry has actually, after that, it has increased.
Right,
So, like if you talk about iOS, so iOS started in 2005 with Vijender Singh, and then in 2008, iOS signed Maricom. So we are majorly focused into non cricket sports.
right,
And then we have represented Saina Nehwal, we have represented Sushil Kumar, former captain Sandeep Singh, former captain Sardar Singh. So
right,
now we have around 25, 26 athletes, out of which 10 are Olympic qualified athletes.
right,
So the scenario has changed. Athletes are also aware that we will, at some point of time, we will need a manager who can look after our needs, who can look after us, who can interact on behalf of us. So it's all about building trust also. You will have to understand your athlete in a better way. What is the requirement of your athlete? So, like today, if I'm getting any query for my athlete, it's not that I will call my athlete immediately. I will have to see when my athlete is training, when my athlete is doing rest. So you will have to understand those things, because for an athlete, what is their schedule? In the morning, they train from 6 to 10. Then they have their massage sessions, physio sessions for 1
right,
hour, 2 hours. 12 o'clock, by then they will have their lunch. Then they will go for rest. Again in the evening, 4 o'clock, they will have their training sessions. They will come back around 7. Then
right,
again, dinner. So we hardly get time to interact with our athletes. But whatever time we get, on my personal note, I always try to interact with them. I always try to WhatsApp my athletes on daily basis. How are they? What are they doing? So I
wow,
always try, but I never try to disturb them whenever they are busy. I always try to call them whenever they are not training. They are having a half day off or something like that. So you will have to understand your athlete in a better way, and
right.
that actually builds a strong relationship between athlete and a manager.
Right. So, while you were mentioning your company iOS, through your initiative Influrate, which is Influence Plus Accelerate, there's a definite shift towards, of course, the role and the importance of the digital platforms. And like you had also mentioned, Instagram and all of it. What is then the role of the influencers on it? Like, would you like to share more on that?
See, the idea of Influate actually had come because during this lockdown, we start there was no initially, because everything was shut down, there was no business. So we
Right,
started getting query for digital queries for athletes. So that's how
right,
the idea comes in, that we should start our digital influencer marketing division, because
right.
we have an access to around 50 million to the athletes who are having a total of 50 million followers.
Wow.
So we started this division, and now this division is really doing well, because during the lockdown period, lockdown one, we did some major deals for our legend athletes, Maricom, Vijender. We did
Right,
with Curate, we worked with Tata Tea, we worked
right,
with a lot of other brands during that.
right,
So, but next 5, 6 months will also be a future of digital influencer marketing.
right.
So a lot of brands, because they also know now athlete can't do a physical appearance and all. Athlete will not come
Right,
for any motivational session. So a lot of
right,
webinars are also happening, and
right,
every brand is now trying to utilize maximum through influencers only.
right,
And
right.
as compared to physical appearance, the cost is also reduced, and
Of
your
course.
cost on other resources also get reduced, because shooting with an athlete, and
Right,
nowadays a lot of good mobile phones are available with good cameras.
right.
So
Yes. So
good to
now
see.
many of your clients, like you mentioned, we are in this lockdown and we are in this situation. Many of your athletes are all involved in contact sports. So what will really be then the challenges that you think going forward in our current times to sort of get out there on the field, whether you really see that you need to interact with the organizations, get them out there as a player, is that something that so that they can continue the sport, is that also something that you would all look into, or you kind of just wait and watch the situation?
No, see, as far as contact sports are concerned, government has issued guidelines for that, and most of the athletes who have either qualified for the Olympics, their camps have already started. Like in boxing, the camp has started in Patiala, so slowly and steadily, athletes they are joining the camp, and proper measures are being taken in the SAI
Right,
campuses.
right,
And some of the athletes who have still not joined camps, joined the camp, either they are in their home state where lockdown is still there, so they are training at their home. They are getting their training programs from their coaches, and you will be surprised that this time almost all the federations, they have been doing online coaching program for all the athletes. So the
yes,
athletes were getting their training programs on daily basis from their coaches, and then they were responding to that, they were following that. So it's really good. Bec- at least I can say that government is taking all sufficient
yes,
initiatives, that if
yes,
Olympics will happen, definitely it's going to happen, so
right,
athletes will be prepared in a better way. I'm sure as soon as the situation will get better, the athletes will be joining the camps in a proper way. And also the full-fledged training will start. And
right,
right now, most of the athletes, they are focusing on the fitness,
right,
because most of the athletes, they were about to touch their peak by
right,
when the lockdown started. So now
right,
they have sufficient time. So most of them are focusing on their physical fitness and then little bit technical training.
right. So then, like, how hopeful are you, or what do you see is this definite shift in our sporting culture as a country, or through the government initiatives, or all of these things that are happening even during the lockdown? Where do you see this taking us in the near future, or even into becoming more of a sporting nation?
See, first of all, I would like to actually thank Honorable Sports Minister Mr. Kiran Rijiju, because from the time he had come, athletes are really comfortable. The
Yes,
athletes who are part of the national camps, who are in the top scheme, because he's been visiting all
yes,
the training camps and all. He's personally taking care of their diets and everything. He's monitoring.
right,
I have not seen such a thing before, because it's been almost 17, 18 years in the field. I have not seen such a change. And
right,
athletes are also enjoying. Then all the athletes who are in the top scheme, they are getting monthly allowances also.
right.
They're getting every month. Earlier, it used to happen they're getting after 6 months, or they're getting after one year their allowances. So now they're getting month. I think they're getting some monthly fixed allowance every month. So
Wow,
which is a good thing.
right,
And definitely, if you will do such things for your athletes, they will actually they can focus more on their training and all, because they will not be concerned about their expenses, their pocket money and all. They will not be concerned about that.
right.
And also, the major thing is that Mr. Rijiju is actually he is accessible to each and every athlete.
Yes,
So that's a major thing.
Right. Um, I'm gonna. Can I get into a question which is sort of he somebody wants to Amay Sankhe wants to know that what is your view on the sports industry in India, which is very similar to what we were talking about, and I thought I could put this question in. So, is there something that you would like to put in, is in your view, where what can still be changed or what still can be added from here forward that can still kind of, change the face of our sporting industry?
I think somewhere we will need some sport. We will need a proper sporting culture in the schools and colleges. That is something which is missing. The more we will have, the more, if it will be properly implemented, because government is definitely trying to have
Right,
grassroots programs and everything, the
right,
more professionalism we will get to have, we will actually have more professionalism in the sports industry if we will
right,
start implementing sports. We will make sports compulsory everywhere in schools and colleges, so
right,
that will going to benefit in the long run.
right,
The
right,
government is definitely trying and government is working on that. Now a lot of corporate houses are there, and now with the CSR initiatives and all, a lot of corporate houses are supporting athletes, and
right,
athletes also understand that they have to be more professional
right.
while going out in public, while saying anything in public, while dealing with the brand. So
Right.
such change is already, that change has started.
Yes. Yes. And would you have any tips for aspiring sports management professionals? Is the next question.
I think the best thing is that you have to be honest with your athlete. You have to understand your athlete in a better way, and the key thing is you have to be patient while dealing either with the clients, dealing with an athlete. You have to keep patience.
There is one question which says
If
that,
you if you will get aggressive, then
right, right. So this is an interesting question which actually asks that what is then your typical day like the way you were mentioning about the athlete's day. What really is your day like? How do you actually become a manager, and then what is your typical day?
uh, see, it's all about passion. It's all about how you take the things. If you are positive, you will think positive and you will do the things whatever you want to do. So it's all about
Right,
mindset.
right,
Every day is a new challenge. So if you want to pursue, if you accept that challenge, then I think you will definitely succeed.
right. There is one more question which says that you've previously worked with the national men and women hockey teams. Uh, would you be able to speak a little bit more about your experiences of the two?
See, my experience of working with the hockey teams was really good because by that time the federation the federation is very professional, and also the athletes, they are, as I said, that the players are very down to earth. All Most of them come from humble backgrounds, so they also understand the things and all. So overall experience was really good. But
And
definitely, I would like to say one point. While working there, I have seen a lot of inspiring stories, especially the captain of the Indian women's hockey team. She's
right,
a daughter of a cart puller. So family income was like 100 rupee, and now she's been leading the Indian team from last 4 years. So it's such
right,
a big thing, and I think she's been playing for the country from last, say, 12 years. So 12
right,
years is not a small time. She's Padma Shri, she's Arjuna Body, and recently I think she's won this World Game Athlete of the Year. She's the first Indian. So
wow,
hockey players, they have achieved a lot of milestones.
right. And I'm sure as a brand manager, or even as a person who's kind of seen them grow, it must be really huge moments of pride for someone like you.
Yeah, definitely it is. And the best part is we also get to learn a lot of things from our athletes.
Right.
So every athlete has one or the other way some inspiring story. So if we have time, I can let you know. I can
I
just
would
tell one more
I was
good
going to
story.
ask you this, that is there
So
anything that you can share with us which, even we can really get inspired
yeah.
by?
So Mirabai Chanu, the initial time when she's from Manipur, when she started her training, she used to travel 25 kilometers. She used to walk 25 kilometers on one side for
Wow.
daily for her training. She used to wake up in the morning at 4 o'clock. Then she used to go to the forest area to collect some woods because the situation of her family was not that good.
Wow.
And now she's former world champion. She was world number one, and then she's Padma Shri. She's Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna body.
I mean, I'm getting goosebumps, but it's really, it's stories like these, and I think this is it about sports, that is just so involving and so moving. The passion that it really takes to, and I'm
Yes.
sure, of course, it comes from almost all areas of life, like not just sports, but people have done that for education, and
And
they've done it
this is
like you
this
have
is
for.
the this is actually the industry. When you are working with such athletes, you will never feel tired because looking at them, when the way they train, the circumstances which they have faced, the challenges which they have faced,
Right.
you will you will never get tired while working.
So tell me something, what aspect of sports, or what aspects of a sports, whether it's discipline, whether it's regime, what aspect of it have you picked up, or have you seen so closely that really is very life changing? Like, for me personally, I always keep saying, and to everybody I meet, is that sport is a life lesson, and there is so much that you learn about life and about everything within sports, right from your wins, your losses, your discipline, your regime, your training. All of these things kind of prepare you for life. So what is it about these aspects, or what aspect of it has kind of touched you the most?
I think the discipline part is something which has touched me most because while working with an athlete like Mary Kom, so now at the age of 37, she still trains in the morning and evening without failing. So such kind of discipline always motivates you also to be disciplined. So these are few things which always touch you.
Do you get a chance to take some time off and pursue a sport as well?
No, I never get a chance. I never get such chance.
And so, as a manager, you're kind of 24/7 working.
Yes, 20. I mean, we don't have any Saturdays or Sundays because when Saturday, Sunday, everybody enjoys, our athletes are also free. So they
Right.
also get time to interact with us and all. And there are, because the scenario has totally changed. So
Yes.
now, whenever we commit anything to any brand, we usually try and doing physical activities or physical appearances for brands. I mean, not during the lockdown, definitely not during the COVID-19 time, but
Sure.
generally we do it on the Saturdays and Sundays
Right. Right. I
because
have
we
a
don't
question.
want to. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question from Robin Nirvani. He wants to ask, what are the kind of sustainable opportunities that can, which can be created for athletes who retire from their respective sporting discipline? So while you mentioned that there's so much, also earlier on, that there is so much that's now been taken as an initiative for the top players and the top athletes, what really happens when they retire from their sports? If is How does does a brand manager still play an active role, and if not, like, what are the government initiatives that really kind of keep them going then?
See, such thing depends upon the athletes also. Like former hockey player Virendra Skina, he is now CEO of the OGQ. Then there are two, three other players also working with OGQ who are former Asian Games. They have represented India in the Asian Games and Commonwealth Games. So it all depends upon individual to individual.
Right.
Uh, Person like legendary PT Usha, she's running her academy.
Right,
Then Bobby George, she's running her academy. There are a
right,
lot of other athletes who are into commentaries and all.
right,
So there are two, three players who have turned as a commentators.
right.
So it depends on individual to individual how you want to mm, pursue your life once you leave the sport.
Right. And there are plenty of
There
opportunities
are a
in.
lot of opportunities.
Right, right. Again, right. So, if you're not even actively playing sport, and that's where, I always talk about it goes beyond sports, that it's the people who really make the player, and which is where we converse with, everybody who kind of helps that player be the face of their sport. So there are so many aspects within sports as an industry that I think there is, we're kind of also spoiled for choice now.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So I was saying more that there are so many aspects of sports as an industry now that you can almost be spoiled for choice, because you can kind of fit into so many different aspects, as and especially as an ex player, because there is that much experience that you're coming with.
Yeah, definitely. That is something that adds the value also. Like
Right,
whatever you are doing, being maybe in the sports management industry, because you know what are the requirements of an athlete and what is the mindset of an athlete while playing. That will gonna add value. But definitely there are some areas which you can try and you can always try those areas like sales and all, because those are some areas for which professionals are required.
right,
But
right.
definitely if someone can try, they can definitely succeed.
Yes. Uh, Rahulji, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. It has been extremely insightful, especially because there is so much that is unknown as to what really happens when you are a manager. Everybody sees the collabs. We love the ads. We love to see our stars on various platforms. And yet, most of us kind of always wonder that how does that really happen? How do you kind of bring the two together? So, in fact, on a parting note, I would like to ask you this: is that, of course, it takes a lot of instinct, and I'm sure over the years it's also experience. But how do you kind of pick what player works for what brand?
See, that depends on the individual personality of an athlete. So it depends on, like, suppose it is Mary Com. So Mary is known for the fitness, strong. So she will always relate to a brand which is known for that, like TMT bars, cement.
Yes,
So there are few things like, if you can say Tata Salt, Desh Ka Namak. You have
right.
seen that in movie also, Mary Com movie.
Yes, yes,
So you will always have to relate such things. And if you will see the boxers, wrestlers, weightlifters, they are mostly, you will see they are associated either with the brands like Tractor, they are associated with the brand like, as I said, even
yes.
the
Everything
oil
depicting
brands.
strength. Yes. But
Yeah,
then,
because it's
then
all
tell me
about strength.
something, does that also kind of put them in a box, like where they kind of, the moment then they step out of this kind of a box, that's where then the controversy comes in, or that's when where they have to face flack. And so are these little things that you have to kind of keep changing as a brand manager and understand as well?
Definitely, that's a responsibility of the athlete manager only to look after such thing, because it's not today you are getting any deal for say 100 rupee, and just for the sake of doing it you do it. You will have to see the advantages and disadvantages of that. So without analyzing, we never commit anything.
Right,
We have to
right,
see the legal aspect of each and everything, whether such thing will build further brand value of, will actually raise the brand value of my athlete, or it should not hamper any, I mean, it should not hamper the, tarnish the image of my athlete. So
right,
we have to look on all the points.
right. Right. So thank you again, Mr. Rahul. And I think this is like a huge takeaway where you kind of understand that as a manager, you are not only building an athlete and a brand, but with that image, you are also kind of building that sport. And I think that is so important, and which is where everybody who kind of thinks it's a fancy way of doing things, there is a lot of responsibility that actually comes when you're managing another human being, because obviously we as human beings are all we are different, we are emotional, we have our moments. So it is definitely a very, very difficult task when you are kind of dealing with another person and having to manage an entirety of their life, uh, and then again coming back to the fact that you are sort of contributing to that sport through that athlete. So I think that is the most valuable contribution to the entire industry, and then again, of course, not just the industry but to the country. So thank you so much for being one of those, and I hope and always wish you the very best. And thank you for being on this platform and sharing these stories with all of us.
Thank you, Sonali, and best wishes.
Thank you so much, Thaoji. Thank you so
Thank
much. Thank you, everybody, for being on Go Beyond Sports once again, for liking, sharing, and most of all, supporting Go Beyond Sports on across all different channels. Keep watching and have a very nice weekend. Thank you.